Oh hi Weirdos, Dan Rossbach here, your lead discussant at the Weird Book Book Club. Today we're here to celebrate my BookTube birthday. That's right, I've been at this for almost a year now. And even though I've got a few videos under my belt at this point, I still feel like I'm just getting a handle on this whole talking about books on YouTube thing. Plus it's a new year, and I've decided to come back with a fresh attitude. A bit more raw, slightly less cut. So to celebrate my glorious rebirth, I've decided to try my hand at the BookTube Newbie tag. This is something that people usually do when they're just starting out, but I thought it might be fun to return to these kind of intro-level questions with the small bit of experience that I've gained over the past year. And if you're new to the channel, this is maybe a good opportunity for me to introduce you to a bit of my back catalog. So let's start with an easy question. What kind of books do you like to read? Well, weird ones obviously, but what does that mean exactly? I guess when I say weird, I mean texts that make you uncomfortable, that mess with your head, that make you abandon all hope of ever guessing what's going to happen next. And while no particular genre is strictly off limits, I'm really not an escapist reader. I don't want to live in any of the worlds I read about, but I do want them to fuck me up. So to give you a few examples, let me briefly touch on a few of my current favorite authors. Number one would be Zhan Shui. We'll file this type of book under Extreme WTF. These are the books that are sort of vaguely whispered about with an almost cultish sense of reverence, and yet any summary you read will seem completely useless, trying to encapsulate an experience that you can really only understand by reading it yourself. Let's say experimental, but with a beautiful, deeply troubled soul. Another favorite of mine would be Roberto Bolaño. We'll classify him as a writer who just fucking goes for it. These are books that are written with sort of a realistic sensibility. There's nothing that happens in them that couldn't actually occur in real life. And yet the author's tendency to layer excess on top of excess, idea on top of idea, just stretches the bounds of credibility to the point where you know you've entered an entirely different dimension. And no book encapsulates this idea better in my mind than my current favorite novel of all time, The Savage Detectives. The incredible range of voices and ideas in this novel, to me, has just never been matched, even by Bolaño's more critically acclaimed work, 2666. And that's saying something, because that book is fucked up. Next on the list would be Octavia Butler. We'll file her works under sexy, but also, I first fell in love with Butler's works through her Xenogenesis trilogy, which begins with a protagonist who is tasked with saving humanity from extinction by recruiting the survivors into polyamorous relationships with horny tentacle aliens. And things only get stranger and more heartwarming from there. And in the final category, we have the works of Brontez Purnell. We're filing him under some combination of sad and hilarious, sadlarious. These are the kind of books that are able to make you laugh your ass off, while never holding back any grim emotional detail that might make you want to break down into a quivering fetal mass. Okay, so that's what I'm into. The next question is, why did you start this channel? And the sad truth, or at least a portion of it, is that I was motivated by my extremely faulty memory. It's been weeks reading these massive tomes, experiencing this incredible range of emotions, rethinking all these events that I had encountered in my day-to-day life through this new literary lens. And then after maybe a month, I'd remember one or two major details about the whole reading experience. So in a way, this channel is an effort to capture my impressions of books that I loved at their freshest and most vivid. But of course, the underlying drive of participation in any social media platform is of course social. I don't want to read these books, record my opinions, and upload them off into the void. I want to have conversations with fellow readers like you. Thoughtful observations I see in my comment section are kind of my main drive to keep creating new videos. So if you have a thought and opinion about anything I say, please don't hesitate to share it in the comment section down below, or connect with me on social media. My accounts are linked in the video description. Next question. What are some of the fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? And for that, I'd say the answer is pretty obvious. A willingness to completely debase myself for even the smallest scrap of attention. Let's take a brief tour of just some of the gimmicks I've used so far to drive up viewership. We've had nudity, substance abuse, ghost dick exorcisms, and even assassinating an alternate reality version of myself because he failed to entertain me. Oh, and you know I won't stop there. There are always new depths of depravity to explore. All I need is your support and encouragement. Next question, what are you most excited about for your new channel? This should also be obvious based on my response to the last question, the fame, the endorsement deals. I am totally willing to shill for any independent publisher that's willing to send me free books. NYRB Classics, New Directions, if you're out there watching, hit me up. Next question, why do you love reading? As opposed to what? living a shallow and meaningless existence? I kid, of course. But one thing that's become abundantly clear to me in the past few years of my reading life is that literature is, and I would argue continues to be, one of the most transgressive artistic mediums humanity has ever devised. Think of all the major films and TV shows that are being credited today with daring to go where no other entertainment had dared before. But then you read a book from like the 1920s, the Victorian era, the early Renaissance, where characters are basically murdering whoever they want and calling Jesus a punk-ass bitch. And these works were finding an audience, doing more transgressive things in the private intimacy of literature than anyone would ever dare to do in a public performance. The next question is, what book or series got you into reading? And I'm just going to combine this with a prompt of, when did you start reading? The simple answer to that question is grade school and Goosebumps. If you've ever read the works of R.L. Stine, you'll understand exactly where my penchant for wild premises and terrible puns came from. Next question. What are some questions you would ask your favorite booktubers? The main one, I guess, would be, would you read a book with me? By far, one of the best outcomes of joining the BookTube community has been this thing called Buddy Reads, which is basically just an on-demand book club, as well as an excuse to reach out to some of your favorite content producers and ask them to join you in a deeper conversation about a book you both wanted to read anyway. This whole community is basically a bunch of nerds looking for any plausible excuse to discuss literature with someone. So if you're at all curious, I say go for it. Next question. What do you see as the biggest challenges your BookTube channel will have to overcome? For that, I would say time. It takes a lot of effort and editing to look this good on camera. So, realistically speaking, I'm never going to have time to jump in on the conversation about the latest literary prize controversy or some hot new tag that's making the rounds. I mean, I'm only making it to the BookTube Newbie tag a year into my career. So, timely, topical content, something which our friendly YouTube algorithm favors, is not likely to be seen on this channel. Nevertheless, I'm confident that over time, all of the eccentric, anachronistic literature enthusiasts out there will find me, and we will be very, very happy together. Last question, and why not end this on a weirdly personal note? Where do you read? Normally I would say, none of your goddamn business. But the rather uninteresting and undramatic truth of it all is, in my car or in my bed. I always try to be listening to one audiobook and reading one physical book at the same time. You know, because efficiency. There are many pleasures to be found here in my underground lair, but few of them are literary. Well, weirdos, that's 1 year worth of content created, and one more tag completed. As always, I look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below, and if you'd like to help the channel grow, I hope you'll browse through my back catalog and maybe share a couple of your favorite videos on social media. Until next time, happy reading, weirdos. That's morning time.